Welcome to the introductory video on MaintScape. This video introduces you to MaintScape, demonstrates the basics on how MaintScape is used, and focuses on a couple of unique and powerful functions that MaintScape does very well. We will start on the logon screen. Your logon ID is set up by the MaintScape administrator as well as your security rights and permissions. We will log on to our sample database as Arthur Grimes, our example MaintScape user. Upon successful logon, you will next see the MaintScape main menu window. Main menu window icons represent modules and functionality. Click on an icon to get a pop-up set of actions. For example, we will click on the work order icon. The pop-up actions are used to view, search for, create, work with, and report on work orders. We will demonstrate some of these actions in this and other videos. Let's start off by looking at MaintScape Explorer. MaintScape Explorer lets you set up and browse your facilities as a hierarchy or tree structure and lets you take actions on what you find. We will find items such as locations, equipment, work orders, and parts in MaintScape Explorer and take the opportunity to drill down into further detail for a work order and part. Clicking main menu icon Go to Explorer will take us directly to the MaintScape Explorer. MaintScape Explorer is modeled on the Microsoft Windows File Explorer. It supports two types of hierarchies: locations and equipment, and parts rooms. We will look at the location and equipment first. Let's expand the locations header to see our top level locations. Our top level locations include Division 1 and Division 2. Let's next expand Division 2. Building 1 and Building 2 are the sublocations of Division 2. This is sample data, of course. However, we invite you to envision your own location structure as we do this. Let's next expand location Building 2 to see its sublocations. Let's next expand area Y1. We see this area has no further sublocations, but it does have equipment. Notice that the equipment power module 1 has a plus sign beside it, indicating this equipment is broken down into sub-equipment. We can show this breakdown. We can configure MaintScape Explorer filters to show us in the right pane what is happening at any selected item in the left pane. For example, we see the following when we select location Y1. First, we see a set of active work orders at the location. We also see equipment at the location and maintenance schedules for equipment at the location. Please bear in mind that the types of items MaintScape shows you in the right pane is completely configurable. If you double-click on any item in MaintScape Explorer, MaintScape will open a window to show you the detail. For example, let's double-click on a work order. The work order window has many tab pages of information. We will quickly look through a few now. More detail will be covered in other videos. The main tab has primary information such as work order number, work order type, priority, current status and the date the work order reached the status, target date or due date, equipment maintained, MaintScape work orders can maintain locations as well. Location of the equipment, maintenance account if applicable, task summary line, and the procedure used to create this work order. All work orders generated from maintenance schedules will be created from a procedure. Manually created work orders may or may not be created from a procedure. It is up to you. The Task Description tab allows you to describe the work in detail. The Explore tab lets you see the full structure of a work order at a glance, including the labor, scheduled and actual hours, and parts. Notice that this work order requires a single person to work on it. The person should be a mechanic, but an individual is not yet assigned. The work order also requires a single part. MaintScape work orders can, of course, accept multiple labors, each with multiple hours and multiple parts. We will look at the work order window in much more detail in subsequent videos. For now, we will close the work order window and return to MaintScape Explorer. You can perform actions such as creating equipment or work orders directly within MaintScape Explorer. For example, right mouse click on a location to create a new equipment in that location. For another example, right mouse click on an equipment to create a new work order in the Quick Work Order screen. Now let's look at the part side of MaintScape Explorer. Let's first collapse the locations or facility side. Now let's expand the part locations header to see our top level part locations. Our top level part locations include Stockroom 1 and Stockroom 2. As with the location side of MaintScape Explorer, this is sample data, and we invite you to envision your own stockroom structure as we proceed. Now let's expand Stockroom 1 to see its rows of part storage. Let's now expand row 1 to see bins. As with the location side of MaintScape Explorer, we can configure filters to show us in the right pane what is at any selected item in the left pane. For example, let's select bin B2. We now see the part that is stored in the bin. If you are using the MaintScape Parts Inventory Control module, then the right pane view shows inventory quantities along with minimum and maximum values. We will now double-click on the part to show you more detail in the part window. The part window has many tab pages of information. We'll quickly look through a few now. More detail will be covered in other videos. The main tab has primary information such as part code or part number, part classification, part name or description, manufacturer, manufacturer part number, ABC code, and current average price. The Inventory tab describes where a part is kept and is packed with useful quantity information. The Inventory tab presents optionally one or more inventory locations where the part is kept. The part location value refers to part locations that are set up and seen in MaintScape Explorer. Quantity information by part location. aggregate inventory and purchasing quantities across inventory locations that you are permitted to see. In this example, 54 units of the part are planned because 12 are on hand and 42 are on active purchase orders or requisitions. Inventory status summary indicates whether a part needs to be reordered or whether there is an excess quantity. An intention-grabbing icon would be displayed here in either of these cases. The Vendors tab lists vendors who you buy this part from and the price at which they sell it. Notice there are 2 vendors for this part. Also notice that this vendor, King Bearings, offers 2 price points for this part. You can scroll between the vendors and price points using the blue up and down arrows. The 2 price points show vendor King Bearings sells this part by the case and by the each. Finally, let's look at the Last Used tab, which shows you the most recent transactions for this part for various transaction types. For example, the most recent work order listing this part is numbered 4286 and is due June 3rd, 2018. This is very likely a scheduled preventive maintenance work order awaiting its due date. The most recent inventory count for this part was February 7th, 2007. The most recent purchase order ordering this part was Purchase Order 5. To further demonstrate the ease of getting around MaintScape, we can display, for example, the most recent work order for this part by selecting the row and clicking the green Navigate button. At this point, I think we have had a good look at MaintScape Explorer, all the information it can present to us, and all the details it can take us to. Let's now look at another strong feature of MaintScape, the Today's Status dashboard. We can return to the main menu of MaintScape by clicking our logo button in any Windows toolbar. We can then clean up windows that we have been working on by clicking the Close Windows button. Let's now click on the work order icon and select Pop-up Action Today's Status. The Today's Status window shows you an at-a-glance snapshot of what is going on with your work orders. For example, 17 work orders are due in the next 2 weeks. 9 work orders have been closed in the past month. 3 work orders are slightly overdue, 14 are medium overdue, and 30 are very overdue. 3 work orders are currently status open. Please bear in mind that the set of today's status statistics are completely customizable. Those shown here are only an example. It is possible for each user to have their own custom set of statistics. For example, a user may choose to only see statistics for work orders assigned to them. As you might expect, we can double-click any statistic to see the list of work orders. The 3 open work orders are now shown in the work order search window. We will have much more to say about search windows in a subsequent video. For now, we will maximize the window to see more detail and summarize some of the data columns in the list. The columns include work order number, equipment or location maintained, target date or due date of the work order, planning date, which will be a date prior to the target date if planning is required before work begins, task summary, craftsman or contractor assigned to the work order. These work orders likely do not yet have labor assigned, location where the work is to be done. The location value refers to locations that are set up and seen in MaintScape Explorer. Work order type, work order status, and the date the work order reached this status. As you might expect, you can double-click on any work order in the list to see its detail in the work order window, just as we saw when we double-clicked on a work order shown in MaintScape Explorer. This concludes our introductory video on MaintScape. We hope you continue to our next videos, which go into more detail on using MaintScape to manage maintenance work orders and parts. Thank you for watching.